Hello everyone, my name is Sagar. I'm an educationalist, a student of philosophy, a researcher, a sportsperson and a lifelong learner. Today, I shall be discussing with you regarding communication skills. As soon as we say communication skills, people get intimidated. They think it's a hard nut to crack. They get scared. Okay, when you tell someone you need to improve your communication skills, they start running like headless chickens here and there to different English coaching centers. First of all, communication is not just in English. It can be in any language. It is the language in which you want to express your ideas, your thoughts, whatever it may be. So let's go one by one. What I think is important to improve your communication skills, and I think it's quite easy. It's easy to improve your communication skills. All you need is willpower. And if you have willpower, you can easily improve communication skills using the steps which I'm going to mention in a few minutes. There are 3 questions which I think are very important if you want to improve your communication skills. First question that you should think about is, what is that you really want to tell? What is it that you want to convey? Okay. The second question is, how do you want to tell it? Okay. The third one is, what reaction do you expect from the audience? Okay, so 3 questions. Remember, what is it that you really want to tell? What is it that you want to express? And second one, how do you want to actually express it? How do you want to tell it? How do you want to address your thoughts? And the third one is, what reaction are you actually expecting from the audience or from whoever it may be when you tell or share your idea? I've divided the obstacles to learning. There are some things which stop you from improving your communication skills. I have bifurcated them here. If you can look at the slides, obstacles to learning. On the left hand side, you can see self-imposed obstacles. On the right hand side, external obstacles which are not really under your control. Self-imposed obstacles to an extent are under your control and you can do something about it, whereas external obstacles, sometimes you can't control. However, you can work on yourself to face those obstacles. Let's go one by one. Self-imposed obstacles. What people might think. This may look very easy. This may look very simple. However, I tell you, this is the biggest obstacle for our students, stopping them from learning different languages or trying to practice it. Every time you try to start speaking a new language, you're scared what people might tell. Okay, they might laugh at you, they might taunt at you. They might find a name for you and call you by that name all your college or school life. You're scared of that. Okay, that's what stops you from learning. The second one, I think, is, as I said, everyone will laugh at me. When I started speaking English in my school, where hardly anyone was speaking in English and I wanted to learn, people mocked and made fun of me, and it's all right. I took it. I faced all these obstacles, and that's why now I could speak. Whatever little I can, I learned. And the third one, I think, I might make terrible mistakes. People are scared of making mistakes. Mistakes are ostracized even in schools. Till date, even if you go now in schools, mistakes are the worst things you can do. But unless you make mistakes, as we all know, we can't learn. Some of the greatest people on planet who are revered now as great scientists, philosophers, sociologists, economists, you name it, they all made terrible mistakes before learning. So first thing is what people might think. The second one, they'll laugh at me, they'll make a mockery of me. And third, they're scared of making mistakes. If you're scared of making mistakes, then you won't take steps required to improve your communication skills. And the fourth one is, it is too hard and complicated. Usually what happens when you start learning a new language, they introduce grammar to you. I'm not in favor of that. I think learning grammar will help you understand the language, why, or part of the language, but not the speaking part. I think in order to improve your communication skills, the first step is you should start speaking. No matter how many mistakes you make, you should start speaking. But Right in the beginning, if you learn grammar and if you're like, oh my God, should I use a noun now? Should I use a pronoun? Oh my God, isn't it an adjective? Was it supposed to be a preposition or past, present, continuous, whatever? Then you'll never learn language because you'll be too scared of making mistakes. That's why start speaking. Once you start speaking reasonably, then why I should use this instead of that? Why did I use this instead of that? For that, you need grammar. In order to understand that, in order to get the depth of language, you need grammar. Just to speak, I think the first step is you should start communicating. You should start speaking how much or little you know. And the next one is, maybe I can never learn. This kind of negative attitude that maybe it's too hard, maybe it's not for me. This kind of attitude is a big obstacle. It stops you. It's an inhibition. It stops you from learning something new. If you start from a negative attitude that I might never learn, that's you'll not go really far. So it's better to start with the positive attitude that I'll try my best. And the next one is peer pressure. As I mentioned before, it keeps repeating, but it's really important. That's why I'm stressing on it. What do I mean when I say peer pressure? Most of your friends will be speaking in the mother tongue or any other language. And if you try to learn some new language, then your friends might not cooperate. They might not help you speak in that particular language in which you're trying to learn. And that might create an awkward situation where all your friends are putting pressure on you to speak in a particular language, whereas you are trying to learn something else. That might be a problem as well. And the other one is, I might not fit in. The fear of not fitting in. If you try to learn a new language, if you keep practicing this new language, you might miss out on a lot of things. You might not fit in to the so-called popular circle in school or college. Not fitting in is a big problem. That might stop you from trying to learn and experiment and speak new language. And then the other one is not deemed necessary. Why do you need to learn this new language? Why do you need to communicate in Hindi or English or Kannada, whatever it may be? Why do you need a new language? You already have your mother tongue. Why do you need to improve your communication skills in a new language or even in the same language in which you're speaking? For example, many people don't have strong vocabulary in their own mother tongue. And if someone tries to use new vocabulary in their own mother tongue, people look at him like someone out of a circus. Why are you using all these new terms? Why don't you use the same terms which everyone around here uses? However, if you don't improve your word power, you might not be able to dress your thought colorfully. You might not be able to present your ideas beautifully. In order to present your ideas beautifully and colorfully, you need to strengthen your vocabulary. That's extremely important. And I'll tell you how to do all these things as well. Now I'm just talking about obstacles. Okay, so sometimes you might feel it's not necessary. That's why they try not to improve their skills in their mother tongue or a new language which they're trying to learn. Now let's go to external obstacles. Things which are not really under your control. These self-imposed obstacles, we have imposed it on ourselves, so we can work on it, we can try to improve. These external obstacles are always there. Let's see which, for example, lack of resources. The first one is lack of resources. Most of the government colleges or rural areas, you don't have enough resources or enough access to resources. Even many students in metropolitan cities don't have access to resources due to financial constraints and a lot of other things. And that is an external factor. Although there are alternatives now coming up where in very little money you can find resources which will help you improve your language, and there are a lot of free resources available. Okay, so there are ways to get over these external obstacles as well. Then the other one is lack of exposure. You look at all these hi-fi international school-going students and you feel, oh my God, they study in GCSE, they study in IB. I've been brought up in local schools in state syllabus or CBSE. How can I match up to all these students in international schools who continually travel abroad, who meet people who meet a lot of people and who basically have a lot of exposure? See, what happens is if you don't have financial constraints, okay, if you're economically strong, then you get to travel a lot. Then you travel to different places, you meet a lot of people, which gives you a lot of confidence and exposure. Many a times these people, the people whom you watch on television, these international student kids, they meet them, they talk to them. So they have that confidence that I've met all these people, superstars, and I've had a chat with them. They have that confidence. But students in our rural areas lack this exposure. How to make up for this? I always feel that literature is a window to the world. When you read a wonderful author like Charles Dickens in Hard Times, or any other great author in English literature or any other literature for that matter, the author's experiences become your experience. Okay, you can draw from the author's experience and get a lot of exposure. Okay, that's one way of overcoming external obstacle of lack of exposure. And there are other things, lack of inspiring teachers. You may not have very inspiring teachers. By the way, this goes across the board. Even if you go to so-called international schools or some of the great universities. I've been to some of the best universities in the world, and they may be great researchers, but they'll not at all be inspiring in classroom. I met some teachers in great universities who are not inspiring. Okay, so lack of inspiring teachers. Self-motivation is the only goal there. Just because teachers are not inspiring enough, I feel you should not give up. You should find alternate ways to inspire your own self. Then financial constraints, as I mentioned, there are a lot of free resources. Although financial constraint is a big obstacle to improve, big obstacle to learning, there are alternate ways. There are a lot of free resources available online now, which you can use them to overcome financial constraints. And academic constraints, a lot of academic work will be prevailing. There'll be tests, there'll be exams, continuous battery of tests, because of which you think, oh my God, communication skills are not part of these academic work. So why do I focus on communication skills? And these academic constraints becomes an obstacle for you to learn or improve your communication skills. Although I must tell you, no matter how good your grades are, when you go to meet people, or when you go for interviews, or when you want to express your research ideas before principal scientists and other people, you need very good communication skills. You might have wonderful ideas. However, if you're not able to express your ideas, you're not able to put it forth properly, then you won't go too far. Because even to write a research proposal, okay, demanding money from the governments or alternative funding agencies, you need to write a wonderful research proposal expressing your ideas. Mind you, you need to express your ideas, put it down in black and white. You need to express your ideas beautifully. Basically, you are communicating through your research proposal. Even for that, you need good communication skills. So don't think that academic constraints are there so I can get away with it. I don't need to improve my communication skills. No, you'll be stuck with it later. The other external factor is demoralizing environment. Maybe, who knows, maybe parents are not encouraging enough around, and your friends, teachers, everyone around you might not be encouraging enough. However, this is very real. However, we have to create our own alternate environment where we can have some like-minded people who motivate you, who encourage you, who listen to you. That's one of the best way to overcome this demoralizing environment, especially since COVID-19 is prevailing and many of them are under lockdown and in quarantine. You might not find like-minded people around. Still, self-motivating factor should play a major role. Having a wonderful vision, mission, objective, goal will inspire you to motivate yourself and to overcome this demoralizing environment. The last one of external obstacle is lack of alternative motivational factors. What do I mean by that? That's a mouthful. What do I mean by lack of alternative motivational factors? What I mean is, many a time people say you need to improve communication skills to get a job. And many creative people are like, is that all? Is that all I need to improve my communication skills for? Just to get a job? That may not be enough motivational factor for them. I have to tell you, that's not it. You don't have to just improve your communication skills to get a job. As I mentioned before, you want to become a good scientist. You want to express your ideas beautifully, to become a good teacher, to become a good philosopher. You name it. Anything that you're passionate about. You want to become a good actor or a good singer. You need to have good pronunciation. You need to have body language. You need to have eye-to-eye contact. All these different forms of communicative skills you need, no matter what your vision, mission, and objective goals are. So there are many other motivational factors. Don't just think that getting a job is the only factor to improve your skills. No, you might find loads of other options to loads of other things to motivate yourself in order to improve your communication skills. This is what I think are some of the obstacles to learning. Basically, not just to improve your communication skills, basically to learning something new. Like Robert Frost's Road Not Taken, a wonderful poem in which we say, two roads diverged in the woods and I took the one less trodden, and that makes all the difference. To take that road not taken, you need these skills. You need to try new things, and when you try these new things, there are different obstacles which you face. One is self-imposed obstacle, the other one is external obstacles. I've discussed both these factors today. There may be many other factors. I've just shortlisted it in a short time. You please write in the comment section if you think there are some other things which are important as well. Let's move on to the next one. Ways to improve your communication skills. I have made a list of things here. If you can look at the slide, some things in a short time I have prepared a list which I think are important to improve your communication skills. You don't have to go to any classes. You don't have to go to any center. You can sit at home and you can do these things. First one, listening and conceptualizing. Listening is an extremely important aspect. Many people don't realize it. Many people think that communication means it's all speaking out. No, it's not just that. If nothing goes in, nothing comes out. So if you don't listen well, if you don't listen well, if you don't record it well in your brain, if you don't conceptualize it, if you don't visualize it, then you can't present it well. The more you listen to the language in which you want to communicate, the better communicator you shall become. So it's extremely important to listen and conceptualize. Conceptualize is very important. Just listening and forgetting is not enough. You have to listen and you have to think about it. You have to build concepts in your brain. You have to think about it. You have to conceptualize. You have to round it up like clay. You take raw clay and you round it up. Like that, you should listen and you should try to conceptualize. That it has helped me. The things that I'm mentioning are the things that help me improve my language. I know it's not really good, but whatever little I've improved is because of these aspects. Next, reading literature. I know, many of you think reading is quite boring. This new generation is mobile apps, games, this, but I must tell you, there is no substitution to reading. So reading literature is an important aspect if you want to improve your communication skills. There is no substitution to reading. There are amazing books. For example, I read Victor Hugo's Les Miserables. It's French. It's originally in French. I read it in English, and that book inspired me immensely. That took me to literature. I fell in love with English literature because of Victor Hugo. So that's how it is, and your vocabulary improves when you read literature. The author's experience pretty much becomes your experience. You relive the author's experience. It's fantastic. I think reading a book, visualizing, imagining, that takes you to a whole new world, and I think it's extremely important, something which I think this generation should actually focus on. Then, watching videos and movies. This has helped me immensely. There are amazing videos and movies especially. When I wanted to learn English, just learning words are not enough. You need to understand in which context these words are spoken and the emotions behind those words. I wanted to understand all that. So when I watched English movies, some of the best English movies, that really helped me immensely. Can't tell you in words. For example, when I went to Scotland, I had read so much about Scotland, Scottish history, and I watched so many Scottish movies that when I went there, I could fit in easily. I could talk to people at least. I could relate to what they were saying, their anecdotes, their examples. I could at least understand what they're trying to tell. So I think watching movies and videos are very important, because when you watch videos, you listen, mind you, and you also, for dinner table conversation, some anecdotes which are used when you're having dinner table conversation, all this you can only understand when you're part of that particular community. So watching movies will help you come close to that, unless you go and stay in that particular country for a long time. You can watch the videos and watch movies and try to get as close as possible to those aspects. Although experiencing it is altogether different, I agree with you, but this comes closer. Your vocabulary improves when you watch movies and videos, your body language, so it's important. Next, texting grammatically. I know many youngsters will be very upset when they listen to this, but I like texting grammatically because I text a lot. I speak to people through text, to WhatsApp, to Instagram, and through a lot of new forums which are available now, even Telegram. So when you text people, we spend so much time texting, it's like writing. So if I write grammatically, it's naturally improving my communication skills. By the way, I have to tell you, I don't think I mentioned it in my slides. Informal communication is extremely important. It's not like only when you go on stage or you're in an office and you should speak properly, and when I come out, I can speak however I want. Informally, when I'm speaking grammatically, that really helps me improve when I'm on stage or when I'm in a formal setup. Okay, so informal grammatic texting helps me in formal speech, and even formal writing. It helps me immensely. So I think texting grammatically is important. It's not too hard. For example, now I text as fast as anyone else who could text in any broken grammatic language, in the pidgin English. I can text as fast as they can. It's all practice. If you practice texting grammatically, it becomes a habit. Next, being broad-minded. See, being broad-minded, people may think, well, how come that's important to improve your communication skills? I think it is because being broad-minded helps you learn things from everyone around you. You learn a lot of good things from people around you. You learn a lot of positive things. You take things in. If you're narrow-minded, if you're closed-minded, then you think you're perfect. Then you think it's like monkeys praising their own tails. You don't want to learn anything new from anyone else. And when that's the situation, you close your mind and brain to anything new, then naturally you can't improve. Stagnant water stinks. So it's extremely important to be broad-minded, because if you're broad-minded, you learn from everyone. I'm always open to listening new work. Every time I listen to a new word, I note it down. Wow, that's a wonderful word. I note it down, and next time when I speak somewhere, I try to use that word. That's how you take good things from everyone. Even teachers. When I look at a good teacher, I learn a lot of qualities from them, and I try to adopt it in my teaching method. The way I teach, I try to improve. So I've observed all these good teachers and tried to improve my teaching skills. Okay, I think that's extremely important, being broad-minded. Next one, acting. Performing on stage is quite unbelievable. You overcome fear, your stage fear, your shyness, all these things. Many great actors in their interviews, they told that they were very shy outside. But when they were on stage, they used to become a whole different person. They used to be very expressive. Robin Williams was one of them. He used to say that I was very shy. I always wanted to make my mom laugh. But when I used props, when I went on stage, Robin Williams, an Oscar-winning actor, a great comedian, unfortunately is no longer with us. Robin Williams used to tell that when I go on stage to perform, I become a whole new person. That's where I really live. I come alive on stage. So acting even helps you improve your voice throw. If you're speaking very softly and people always complain that I can't hear your voice properly, then if you act, if you perform, if you join a drama or something like that, if you join a drama company, a theater, you love it. It improves a lot of qualities in you. It helps your communication skills immensely. Your voice throw improves, your body language improves. You're no longer shy. You can speak in front of huge audience, because you're performed in front of huge audience. So all these things, acting helps. Then the next one is never give up attitude. I think this is very important when you're not just for communication skills or public speaking, anywhere. No matter what you're doing, I think never give up attitude is very important, because you fail many times. It's like riding a bicycle. You start riding a bicycle, you fall, you get hurt, it bleeds, but you don't give up. You just keep getting back on the bicycle till you learn it. And many of us do it when our children. I don't know what happens when we become adults. As soon as we don't get something right away, we try to give up. We take it too easily. No, never give up attitude helps a lot. Okay, in fact, if you have this, nobody can stop you from learning. Okay, no matter how many times you fail, you just keep trying. Next, performing on stage. As I said, acting, dancing, drama, anything you like. If you come on stage more often, then stage becomes like your second home. You feel very comfortable on stage. Your blood pressure is no longer high on stage. Imagine suddenly if you ask a student in the class to come up on stage, their heartbeat shoots up. They become very nervous. They can't think properly. At that time, if you ask them to present anything or speak, it will be very difficult for them. Instead, if you keep coming on stage regularly, then you'll feel very comfortable on stage. Once you start feeling comfortable on stage, then you can beautifully dress your thoughts and express your ideas. So performing on stage makes a big difference. Next, individual practice. No matter how much we tell you, no matter how much practice you get, going home all by yourselves and practicing alone is extremely important. No substitution again to individual practice. You have to stand in front of the mirror. Yeah, I know it's funny and it's too much vain, but yeah, standing in front of mirror and just looking at how you are when you're presenting something or you're talking or communicating. People may say, my God, sometimes people tell me, you're very intimidating. So I look at myself in the mirror, am I scary? Do I intimidate people? So it's extremely important for you to look at your own self and see how you're feeling, how you look. So that makes a big difference. That's why individual practice is very important. Speaking, reading aloud, okay, repeating the words that you find difficult, okay, pronouncing it time and again, and as I said, looking at the mirror and practicing, repeating your body language, eye-to-eye contact, all that you can improve through individual practice. And then there are amazing educational apps now available. So there are many mobile apps which teach you various different aspects of communication. May it be public speaking, may it be body language, may it be eye-to-eye contact, or even learning any new language. There are many mobile apps. You can use them. It helps you immensely in learning a language or in communicating in general. Next one is sports. Sports has helped me a lot. I've been a national basketball player, and because of playing basketball, I've learned a lot of things in my life. Confidence. I was a very shy kid in school. I was very shy and never came on stage. Because of basketball, I really opened up. Okay, I gained all the confidence because of playing in front of large audience and meeting and speaking to people from different places. That gave me a lot of exposure. Sports helped me immensely to overcome a lot of things, and even self-esteem. Sports help you improve your self-esteem. So I think sports is extremely important. Although many schools and colleges don't give enough importance to sports, I think it's extremely important. You may not win a gold medal in Olympics, but the qualities that you learn in sports will be helpful in all different aspects of life. I can make a whole slides just on how sports helps education, but let's keep it for some other day. To improve your communication in all different aspects, sports play a major role. Trying new things. Unless you try new things, you won't come up with anything original. If you want to come up with anything original, then you have to try new things. People may burst out laughing, they may taunt, they may humiliate you, but still, unless you try new things, you can't come up with anything original. So if you want to be a good communicator, if you want to come up with something original and make a difference, then please don't stop trying new things. Then the other one is find a cause. People might find this funny. What is it, find a cause? See, when I sit with the book thinking that, okay, I have to read because I should become like a self-centered, possessive, individualistic goal. What do I mean by that mouthful phrase? What I mean is, if you have some personal goal you want to achieve, when I sit with the book, I don't get enough motivation. But when I sit with the book thinking that, oh my God, I have such a big vision, there is a mission, there are objectives, there are goals, I have so much to achieve, which might help someone else, not just me, it might help someone else. For example, I'm a teacher. If I sit with the book thinking that I might inspire thousands of students, then that gives me the cause or the motivation needed to read all night long or to work on something. Okay, that's what I mean when I say find a cause. As a teacher, for me, inspiring students, to make them better human beings. In the process, I become a better human being. That's a cause for me as a teacher. You find your cause. The higher your cause, the more motivation you gain, and then you will have sleepless nights. You'll get dreams all night, like, oh my God, I have to do this, or I have to do that. And that motivates you to work harder towards something. There are days when you feel very low. There are days when you feel, oh my God, I don't feel like, oh my gosh, I don't feel like getting up. Those days, if you think about the cause that you stand for, something that you believe in, something that you really want to achieve, that will wake you up. And I think that's extremely important. Vision, mission, goals and objectives I've already covered. Have them. It's extremely important to improve your motivation. Okay, next, group activities. There are wonderful group activities that you can practice. If you're worried about doing it alone, if you're bored to practice alone, there are beautiful group activities. Perhaps I'll do another video just mentioning group activities to improve your communication skills. There are good group activities which you can practice. You can do hands-on. You can improve your communication skills. It makes a difference, and it also improves your camaraderie, your friendship, which is also extremely important for an overall growth of a human being. Then creative ventures. When you take up new creative projects in your schools, colleges, universities, anywhere, when you take up creative project, all the new vocabulary around it will be something that you have not come across. So the more you expose yourself, the more you put yourself out of comfort zone, the more your skills improve. The more you are within your comfort zone, then naturally you'll be doing the same old thing and your skills will be extremely limited. You'll be a frog in the well. The more you come out of the comfort zone, the more you put yourself out there, then more your skills will improve. That's why creative ventures are extremely important. And I think always make a note. Anytime you go anywhere, carry a small notebook. There will be so many fantastic things you'll come across which you may forget. That's why it's extremely important to make a note of things that you come across so that you may use them. Many times when I've been traveling, I've had a book in my hand, I've noted down things, I've come back, I've included those aspects which I noted down in my lectures. Okay, and they work beautifully. Even sitcoms when I watch, I note down many things. Many English sitcoms when I watch, I note down many things and I've used them in my lectures and they worked beautifully. And students are like, sir, where did you learn this? Where did you come up with? So then I say, look, this is how I did it. Okay, so it's important to make a note of things, otherwise you'll just forget it. Start by repeating others' lines till you write your own. See, this is extremely important. Okay, when I read Victor Hugo, and when Victor Hugo said, teach the ignorant as much as you can. Society is culpable of not giving knowledge to all. If the soul is left in darkness, sins will be committed. But the guilty is not he who commits the sin, but he who creates the darkness. I read this and it was so profound. And you know how I adopted it to my classroom? I said, look, so the guilty is not he who commits the mistakes, it's he who creates the darkness. Oh, very interesting. I didn't use he because when Victor Hugo wrote, there was only he. They used to write in that gender format, he. So I adopted it to my classroom. I said that students are not the ones the mistakes are not just committed by students, it's the environment we create. If the room is dark, if someone comes and trips and falls, it's not the mistake of the person who tripped. It's the mistake of the person who has created the darkness. That's how I took Victor Hugo's words. I put his name, of course. I took his words. That's how I started. Till you start getting your own words. That's how you read something and take good aspects out of it and adapt it in your life as well as your practice, everyday practice. That improves your skill. And people are like, so where did you get this? Then I say, look, I read Victor Hugo. That's how I found these lines. And then I adapted it to my teaching style. Be a lifelong learner. If you're not a lifelong learner, then you can't achieve anything. Because once you become a professor, once you become a doctor, I know many people after completing their PhD, they don't even want to go through their thesis again, because they just realize how many mistakes they might have made. So it's extremely important to be a lifelong learner. If you're a lifelong learner, then nothing can stop you because you regularly keep making mistakes and you regularly keep learning from them. Only a lifelong learner can do that. The more mistakes you make, even at the age of 70, 80, 90, still you'll be a learner. You'll make mistakes at the age of 80 or 90 and still you'll be open to learning. I think that attitude makes a huge difference. I think that's extremely important. This, I think, pretty much covers everything. Ways to improve your communication skills. If there is anything, please let me know in the comment section below. I'll try to improve next time around. Public speaking. The whole video was supposed to be about public speaking, but I thought, why just focus on public speaking? I'll bring in a lot of other things as well. If you improve your communication skills, then public speaking is an integral part of it. You can't just improve public speaking and not communication skills, because public speaking is just one form of communication. Okay, it's not everything, it's just one part of communication. What are the things I think are important because I give a lot of lectures, I go all around speaking to engineering college students, medical student college students, school teachers, I train principals, professors all around the place. So I give a lot of lectures when I go to different places. I have workshops. I conduct a lot of workshops. So these are the things which I think are important when you go for public speaking. First one, know what and how much you want to express. Today I have my slides, so I know exactly how much and what I want to tell, but still there are some stories that you get carried away. There are many side stories which come in the middle and they take your lecture away. But yeah, keep a watch and know how much and what you want to express. Just conceptualize, as I said right in the beginning. Conceptualize how you think your speech is supposed to be. To start with that. Then feel the pulse of the audience at all times. Look, many a times I've gone for lectures to rural areas, metropolitan cities. I go with a different perspective. As soon as I go there, looking at the audience, I have to improvise. Improvisation is extremely important. Improvising skills are too important. I can't stress it enough. Looking at the audience, feeling the pulse of the audience. You have to change your tone, your intonation, voice modulation. You have to change everything at times. You never know. The audience might be upset. The audience might be extremely happy. So feeling the pulse of the audience, you have to moderate your speech. You have to change your speech. Extremely important. Otherwise, you'll just be speaking. You'll just be muttering words, and the audience will be in their own world. If they are students, they'll be playing PUBG, and you'll be speaking your heart out, and nobody will be listening to you at all. So it's extremely important to feel the pulse of the audience before you present or before you speak. In which order you want to express it in? In what order do you want to present your lecture? How do you want it to start? Do you want to start with a joke using a sense of humor? Do you want the audience to be happy? How do you want to take it? All these things are extremely important. In which order do you want to go? Where do you want to give a pause? This order makes a big difference to your speech. So make sure in which order. Do you want to deal with the tough aspects in the beginning? Do you want to deal with the tough aspects in the end? So all these things you have to order it properly so that it works in your favor. Next one, use appropriate intonation and voice modulation. If I just go on giving a lecture in the same speech, nobody will be listening and they'll fall asleep. See how do you feel when I speak like this? You get bored. You feel like you should kill me. See, that's why you should not speak in that manner. Instead, you should raise your voice and lower your voice when needed. Intonation and voice modulation are extremely important. They make a big difference. Even in movies, anywhere, even in your school or college or university, if lecturers speak in the same tone without using intonation or voice modulation, you are bored to death. You feel like, I know many students who tell me that, oh my God, the teacher should fall sick or something should happen to the school or college so that I can skip his or her class today. That's how it becomes monotonous. It becomes if you don't use appropriate intonation or voice modulation. So please try to use them. Next, body language. Body language is also extremely important because you communicate more just through your body. By body language, I don't mean go to a gym and stand like a bodybuilder. No, that's not what I mean. When I say body language, I mean I've seen people literally with their hands in the pocket when they're speaking. They think it's style, but it looks very arrogant. That's why use your hands, use your eyes. Look at people's eyes when you're conveying something. Be sincere. Okay, don't wear faces. Don't be artificial. Okay, be sincere. Be honest. Look into their eyes when you're telling something. You can only do that when you're ethical. When you're upright, when you're honest, and there is no substitution for all these things. Okay, I don't train people to become dishonest and then try to go and speak on stage to impress somebody. No, I like you to be sincere, honest, look into their eyes, stand upright, and with all the honesty and earnesty, present your thoughts. And trust me, it will touch them. It will inspire them. If you're honestly, and standing there and delivering something upright, they'll know, because that ethical attitude in you will resonate. They'll feel it. So have that kind of positive body language. Be energetic. Move around. Not too much. Don't distract them by moving around too much, but don't stand in a place. Okay, move around a little. Look into their eyes. Okay, and use your hands appropriately. Don't just move your hands like Charlie Chaplin. You use your hands appropriately, and body language is extreme. I think it's extremely important, because if you stand arrogantly, I've seen many people who don't even stand straight. That's terrible. I don't want to go on and on. Even before all this COVID-19 came in, I used to tell people, use handkerchief and simple things like that. Use your handkerchief, and they used to burst out laughing. They're like, oh, look here. He comes from England, so now he has become so posh. He's trying to tell us all these things, but these are minimum manners, minimum etiquettes, minimum manners, which are extremely important. Not just stops from spreading germs, diseases, and viruses. It also is part of good body language. Okay, these minimum manners and etiquettes are also part of good body language. Stand up straight. Okay, and use your hands, use your eyes to communicate, okay, which are extremely important. Next, audible and pleasant. Don't be too loud, not too low. Your voice should be audible enough. That's why when you stand in front of the mic, or you're using cordless mic, or you're using collar mic, make sure you're at a reasonable distance, so that you shouldn't scream going too close to the mic. At the same time, it should not be it should not be too low that they can't hear your voice. Make sure that you're audible, and make sure your voice is pleasant. Don't, I'm speaking like this. Don't speak like that. Make sure your voice is pleasant, so that they can listen to you. They should not pray that, oh my God, I wish his speech gets over as soon as possible. They shouldn't be praying for that. So make sure it's pleasant. Then keep pointers. If you're a person who can't remember a lot of things, then have a pointer in your hand, so that you at least right? A small piece of paper, you can have some pointers, so that you know where you have to take a turn, twist, or whatever it may be. The pointers help you a lot. Okay? Now, keep track of time. Sometimes you may be such a passionate speaker, so motivated that you forget the time, and students may get restless. Students, or anyone that may be, they may get restless. You might be telling something wonderful, but it might be time for lunch. And it's very hard to keep students away from lunch. So keep a track of time. That makes a big difference. Smile. Oh my God, I can't tell you how important this is. I've seen many professors, vice chancellors, principal secretaries, they just can't smile. I don't know what's with them. So grumpy. They're always so grumpy. I don't know how they spend their whole life. They don't smile when they're speaking to people, and they're speaking in front of huge audience. They don't smile. It looks terrible. Smile, my dear people, smile. A smile keeps so many problems away. Smile at people, and smile at the world smiles back at you. So smile is important. It's very pleasant. It's very warm. Okay, it brings people close to you. So smile. Okay, when I say smile, don't just smile like air hostess who are trained to smile artificially. It should be a natural smile. If you want to know the difference between artificial smile and natural smile, Gabriel Okara, a wonderful poet, has written a poem called Once Upon a Time. Okay, Once Upon a Time by Gabriel Okara. Please look it up. You know the difference between an artificial smile and a real smile. Eye-to-eye contact, I think, is very good. It makes a big difference. I've seen many teachers, many professors looking at the roof, looking at the floor when they're teaching, not looking into students' eyes. So I think it's extremely important to have eye-to-eye contact, because students will see whether you're sincere, whether you mean it when you say something. They can look into your eye and they can sense it. That kind of inspiration goes a long way. You may speak a lot of things, but when you look into people's eye, when you say something, it goes a long way. They'll be really touched and inspired. So I think it's important to have eye-to-eye contact. Walk meaningfully, as I told before. Don't just walk meaninglessly all around the auditorium or lecture hall, wherever you're speaking. If you walk meaningfully, then people won't get distracted. If you just keep walking here and there meaninglessly, then they'll get distracted. Energetic, that's extremely important. That's my strength. I'm always energetic in my lectures. So everyone tells me that your lectures are too energetic. So that's my strength. You also can look up what are your strengths and weaknesses and where you need to work. So if you're very energetic, then you can do a lot of activities. I do a lot of hands-on activities. I use energizers in the class so that they don't have to sit all the time, because people get bored of sitting for a long time. So you need to make sure sitting for long, they get really bored. So you need to make sure you have a lot of activities so that they jump up and down. The brain is active, so that they are not lethargic. Next, good sense of humor. No substitution to this. A good sense of humor makes a big difference. For example, when I start my lecture, I say that I started my first war of independence, non-violent civil disobedience movement at home. Sepoy Mutiny. I had to win my freedom at home by convincing my parents. That's how I start. So I use pointers, to tune them in to my talk. I use tune in so that they are ready going into. It's like story. I take them on a journey. Okay, and before you start journey, you have to tune them in. So I use a lot of humor to tune them in. So sense of humor makes a big difference. Don't just superficially bring in jokes. They should be organic. They should fit in. Just because Sagar sir has told I need to use sense of humor, don't just bring jokes from outside and tell them. It should be organic humor springing out of your academic studies. If you're good in academics, then it's very easy for you to come up with humor in your own discipline. And people come up with humor in epistemology, for goodness sake. Ontology and all philosophical complicated stuff is also turned into good humor. So you can bring in humor in mathematics, physics, anything. It will be organic humor springing out of your own discipline, which makes sense in the classroom as well as elsewhere. Then, examples and illustrations. It's extremely important to use examples when you present something, because if without examples, people will just be lost. It may be too complicated. Examples help, and illustrations help break things down in a very simple manner. People will be able to understand it easily. That's why we use examples and illustrations. So please use them as much as possible. If you're using PowerPoint presentation, then make sure you're not just reading from the slides. Don't just look at the slides and read. Put up the slides, put up some pointers on the slides, and then you explain things about them. For example, I have good sense of humor. I just put up examples and illustration. Now I'm explaining it to you. I'm not just reading from the slides. It's extremely boring. If you put up a slide and if you read from the slides, people watching will tell you, look, why are you here? I know how to read. I can read from the slides. What is the point of you standing there and reading from the slide? It's extremely boring. I've seen many people in power, many vice chancellors do such presentations, which are meaningless. Don't just read from the slides. Use the slides as pointers, and then you explain with examples and illustrations, which make a big difference. And every time I make claims on stage, I try to use evidence-based claims. I try to present references in my lectures when I talk about research methods and a lot of other things. Evidence is extremely important. Without evidence, if you make claims, it may not go too well. And when someone challenges you, you won't be able to defend yourself. So use peer-reviewed academic journals of a better kind, of a good reputation, okay? And Think about good claims, Don't make claims which go beyond your evidence. Amount of evidence is equal to amount of claims. Always use good authentic evidence when making claims, okay? Don't cherry pick things to suit you. Use evidence. Today when I'm talking, I'm using my personal experiences and I'm talking about it. But when I talk about linguistics and other things, I can also use a lot of research evidence to present ideas. Then, fun and intellectually stimulating activities. It's extremely important. For learning should be fun. If you don't make it fun, if you're giving a speech and if there is no fun at all, then people find it extremely boring and uninteresting. Make sure there is a lot of fun. Make sure they're enjoying and learning. Then it stimulates their brain. Have some activities. Put in some energizers so that they don't get tired listening to you monotonously. Okay, you can do that. Meaningful pauses. Gosh. Can't tell you enough about this. A meaningful pause makes a big difference, and a meaningful pause is better than a million sentences at times. Some things you cannot express, and when you give a pause, it makes a big difference. It's quite unbelievable. Try this. Try giving meaningful pauses while speaking a sentence. If, for example, when I'm saying, there is no thrill in easy sailing when the sky is clear and blue, there is no joy in merely doing things which anybody can do. But there is some satisfaction mighty sweet to take when you reach a destination you thought you would never make. Now try repeating the same sentence without a pause. There is no thrill in easy sailing when the sky is clear and blue. There is no joy in merely doing things which anybody can do. But there is some satisfaction mighty sweet to take when you reach a destination you thought you would never make. That's pathetic. That sounded so horrible, isn't it? That's why it's extremely important to give meaningful pauses. Leave them wanting for more. This is something even I need to work at. Okay, if we go on for long, if we have a very long lecture, and that's why I said feel the pulse of the audience at all times. If you have eye-to-eye contact with your audience, you'll know when they are tired, when they're getting bored. And unfortunately now I'm giving an online presentation. I can't look at your eyes, but if I'm giving a presentation face to face, then I look at your eyes and I know when they get tired in general. When people get tired in general, how long can they go on? When they feel like, oh my God, I need a break. So identify such things, okay, and leave them wanting more. They should feel like, oh my God, I should have listened more. I want more of his talks. I want more of her lectures. They should feel like that. They shouldn't feel like, oh gosh, she bored us so much. She bored me so much. They shouldn't feel like that. So find a way where you leave them wanting for more. It's like how in movies they have sequel. They end the movie with you so curious, wanting to watch the next movie. That's how you should leave them wanting for more. The next slide. If you don't improve your communication skills, what happens? If you can look at top left hand corner, this is just writing skills I'm talking about. Someone has written a leave letter. And look at what the leave letter says. It says, I'm suffering from fever. Please declare 1 day holiday. Really? So you mean to say if you're sick, your principal has to come on stage and say, my dear friends, one of our colleagues is sick, so let's declare a holiday? No. Can you correct the sentence? Unfortunately, I'm not feeling well today. Please grant me a day's leave. No. So this is what happens. You see what I mean? If you don't improve your communication skills, these are the kinds of problems you face. These are real ones, by the way. My wife is suffering from sickness, and as I am her only husband at home, I may be granted leave. What do you mean only husband at home? How many husbands do you reckon she has? House husband, office husband, all different, are they? We don't want such mistakes to be committed. So, unfortunately, my wife is unwell. As I'm the only one to take good care of her, please grant me leave. You can write something like that. As I'm the only one around, so please grant me leave so that I can take care of my wife. You don't have to be the one of many husbands to take care of her. Okay, next. As my mother-in-law has expired. By the way, I have to tell you, we don't use the word expired for human beings when they pass. We don't use the word expired when someone passes. So we say, my mother-in-law has passed away. We don't say expired. Expiry dates are for products. Okay? Human beings, as far as I know, don't have expiry dates. But I've heard people all length and breadth of the country talking about my uncle expired, my aunt expired. They don't expire. Okay? They passed away. As my mother-in-law, you should say, but don't go on saying that when principal just goes by, don't say my principal passed away. Okay? You have to say principal passed by. Instead of saying passed by, if you say passed away, then you will have sent principal to a land of no return. Okay? So don't do that. Let's see what the sentence says. As my mother-in-law has expired and I am responsible for it, please grant me leave. This is not a leave letter, my dear. This is a confession letter. And if the police get hold of this, they'll send you to prison. Okay? As my mother-in-law has expired. First of all, expired is wrong. Passed away. My mother-in-law has passed away. I am responsible for it? Really? What you should tell here? My mother-in-law passed away. Unfortunately, my mother-in-law passed away. And I'm responsible to take care of all the funeral rituals. So please grant me leave. The last one. As I am studying in this school, I am suffering from headache. Really? I request you to leave me today. Maybe this is an honest boy or a girl who is fed up with school, or maybe it's a grammatical error. Maybe the student is so fed up with an institution that the student is saying, I'm suffering from headache because I'm studying in this school. The school is so messed up that I'm getting a headache because of this school. How to correct this sentence? Assuming the school is good, Assuming the school is good, if you correct the sentence, it will be like, I'm a student of this school and unfortunately I'm suffering from a headache, so please grant me leave. I request you to grant me leave. If you don't work on your communication skills, these are the disasters that you may end up with. Okay? Thank you very much for watching my videos. Please write your feedback in the comment section below. Last but not the least, you can find all my details over there. Get in touch with me if you type s.hiremath.11@ucl.ac.uk. You can email me, that's my email address. Facebook, just type Sagar space AH, and Instagram, Sagar Earthling, YouTube, Sagar Earthling again, Twitter, Sagar Earthling. I've put up my mobile number there. Please feel free to text me on WhatsApp if you have serious questions, okay? Thanks very much for your patience. Stay in touch with me. Once this COVID-19 problem gets over, I'll be very happy to come to your institutions and inspire your student, teachers, and principals as well. We'll have a wonderful time. Please do let us know what you think about our videos, and if you want to watch any other videos of mine, I'll be very happy to do that as well. So keep in touch, like, share, and don't forget to subscribe our YouTube channel. Thank you very much.